everyone. I am so sorry for neglecting y'all for these last week or so. Life has been really crazy this week. I had to, for one thing, stop my master cleanse. I was on day 12. So I had to stop my master cleanse because of some crazy circumstances. So that was bad enough. Then my car died. And we only have one vehicle at the moment. And my husband works in downtown Austin. And that's about an hour each way. So we were basically making 4-hour trips a day. And sometimes more than that if he had meetings at different campuses because he works for Austin Independent School District. So yeah, that really was bad. So we were able to get a rental car, and we're trying to work out financing and find a down payment. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Wow, the sun really started shining. And I am on the run as usual, but I just wanted to really give y'all a quick update so y'all know what was going on. So I did lose 9 pounds or 9 or 10 pounds on my master cleanse, and I can just tell how it really helped my hormones, which, I always feel good after the cleanse. That's why I think I'm not addicted, but it is definitely my cleanse of choice. And my hormones, even when I ovulated, I had some minor breast tenderness around ovulation, but it wasn't anything like the previous months, and especially last month. Last month, my breasts were so tender. And you're supposed to reach peaks where you'll get tenderness, and then it would be gone. But mine would sometimes stay from ovulation all the way till I would get AF. So yeah, anyway, this month that didn't happen. And what happened this month? This month I had a little bit of tenderness around ovulation, and then it went away, and now it's coming back. What else did I want to tell y'all? What we did different, which I mentioned in another video that I'm going to post, that I recorded the other day, was that all we did different this month was I gave myself a natural HCG trigger shot, and that's explained in that video. And I started taking progesterone. And I started taking progesterone because I could tell from the symptoms of estrogen dominance, if you want to Google that and see if you might be suffering from some of those symptoms. But with estrogen dominance, it's going to be very hard to conceive because you're lacking progesterone, which progesterone is essential for your body to maintain a pregnancy. So I could just tell that my hormones were off. I could tell that, things weren't balanced. So I started taking the progesterone, and usually the progesterone previously would give me breast tenderness almost immediately, and it would cause a second thermal shift almost immediately. This month, none of that. Right now, I am on 10 DPO. And I have minor, very minor. And usually, like I said, just taking the progesterone and I use the cream, that by itself would cause extreme breast tenderness. So basically, things were pretty good as far as symptoms and things like that. And I said that I wasn't going to pay attention to symptoms too much this month because I knew I was taking the progesterone. And like I said, normally it would give me this laundry list of symptoms, that I'm dealing with. And I think it was because at those times that I was taking it, I hadn't just cleansed out my liver and, my hormone levels, because, it was just the extra estrogen, which can cause all those symptoms on its own. Plus progesterone can cause those symptoms. So I was kind of basically at those times giving myself a double whammy, because I had the high estrogen, and then I was giving myself progesterone. So already this month was kind of like, okay, what's, going on? So, and like I said, the master cleanse by the time I ovulated, I had already been on the master cleanse for 2 or 3 days. So I knew that it would possibly make this month different, because I had experienced that on the other times that I've done the master cleanse. No matter really the length, it always has a positive effect on my cycle and on my hormone level. So, I expected some, some difference. So then I got a UTI, which I'm like, okay, I don't ever get those. I mean, I've got them with my pregnancies before, not all of them, but maybe the last pregnancy and then the pregnancy before the last pregnancy. No, yeah, something like that. Pregnancy with my second child, I think, and pregnancy with my fourth child. So I was like, okay, why in the world do I have a UTI? And I was thinking, okay, I had been trying a different shower gel, which I'm very sensitive, and usually I only use natural bar soap, very natural bar soap, or like ivory soap. So, but I was very careful to not get in certain areas, if you know what I mean. So I was like, why do I have this UTI? And I've been taking medicine because, I treat myself naturally, period. Plus the fact that I was on the master cleanse, which cleanses all of that. And I was doing a saltwater flush every day, which is salt water. When you get a urinary tract infection, it's usually because of the lack of sodium in the tract to wash out the impurities. And I'm doing a warm saltwater flush every morning. I'm like, what is really the problem here? So that was already something I was like, okay. So my temps have been like kind of seesawing, but they're, around 98.7, 98.9 was the highest, and then 98.8. Yesterday was 98.6, and today is 98.7. So normally, like, my cover line is 98.1 or 98. Just depends on what method you chose in your monitoring. But like I said, nothing that I expected to happen with this progesterone happened this month. So then what was the other thing that kind of made me wonder? Then I could not eat. Now, after going 12 days of not eating, yeah, you're going to have an appetite, but you're not going to eat as much, but you're going to want to eat because, during that time, your belly kind of shrinks. So you're not going to want to eat a ton, but you're going to want to eat like, ooh, I was wanting this all this time. And, while I was on the cleanse and stuff like that. Anyway, so I would eat a bite or two of something and not want it anymore. Or something that I'm like, like what was we eating? We was eating something. And I was making myself eat. And I'm like, why are you making yourself eat? If you don't want it, don't eat it, So I thought that was kind of weird as well. But saying all of that to say that last night I got a very, very, very faint positive. And so I was like, okay, because I've gotten false positives before. So I'm like, okay. And I had been taking basically since 7 DPO pregnancy test and a LG test. So, LH. Sorry. So at first, both of them were completely white. And I kept testing, just kind of like let me just dip this, where it's too early, but you were just, the addict in you wants to do it anyway. And, I got the little Amazon kit where I had 50 of the ovulation tests and 20 pregnancy tests. So, it's like providing a fiend with their fix and just laying it right in front of them. So, of course I took the test. So, I was taking them and of course nothing. So I just discard them, put them in a little baggie and go about my day. So, I want to say not yesterday, but the night before that, I had taken one of each. The pregnancy test, at first I thought I'd seen something, and then I was like, nah, because it was way too faint to even really mess with. So I was like, oh. Then the OPK had a little bit of color to it. And I was like, okay. Because sometimes that happens. You know, we always have LH in our system. So I was like, oh, okay. And you could barely see the line. So I was like, okay. Then I took one the next morning. And you could kind of see the line. It was a little darker. So then in the evening time, I took another test. I think that was last night. And the line was darker. And we saw a line on the pregnancy test, a very faint pink line that came up like within the 3-minute window. And I was like, okay, so what's really going on, you know? Because normally if I would, because I've tested with the LH strips before, hoping that it would be an early indication of pregnancy. So those times they would be faint. Then you'll have a day where it's a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, and then it would go back to faint. You know, it's saying it wouldn't consistently build. So the one last night, both last night, the pregnancy test had an extremely faint line. And the LH test had a darker line than the last 2 or 3 days. But it's been a progressive thing. So this morning, I took a LH and 2 HCGs with first morning urine. The one from last night, the pregnancy test from last night, had gotten a little dye run in it. So I was just like, what the crap? You know, this could be my first positive, you know, and it's going to get a dye run in it. And I was just so upset. But when you look at it, you can still see the line, but it's a dye run on the other side of it. So I'm still going to keep it. But the LH test this morning was much darker, and I had 2 faint lines again. So, yeah, I mean, that was 9 DPO yesterday, and today I'm 10 DPO. And I'm like, what should I do? You know, what in the world should I do? I mean, of course I'm excited, and I've been smiling and giggling and stuff the entire morning. And my husband's, you know, like, baby, wait till it gets confirmed, which I know. But I also know that if I've gotten any kind of false positives or evap lines, they don't just keep showing up, you know. So I'm going to test again in the evening, and probably when I get off of work. And I'm going to test again in the morning, and then probably either tomorrow or Friday I'll get a digital or a first response or something like that. But just from the things that I'm experiencing right now, I really think that it's a big possibility that we did conceive this month. And my biggest advice for anybody that might be having some of the symptoms that I've had, for one thing, is to research the estrogen dominance, you know. And the progesterone cream that I got is a natural progesterone cream. I got it from the vitamin shop. I take a very small amount, like basically the amount on my fingertip, and I rub it right there on my wrist, and I rub my wrist together. After you know for sure that you've ovulated, then I completely advocate, because your liver is your filter. Your liver is going to help regulate everything in your body. Every disease that they found can be linked back to the liver. So, of course, you know, I was like, okay, I know that I'm having too much of a certain hormone coming out. So I was like, well, you know, I'm going to go on this master cleanse again and see what happens. Because I also wanted to cleanse from the anesthesia and all the stuff that I took from surgery. But basically, within the first 3 or 4 days, I could tell immediately that my hormone levels were, the bad levels of estrogen were declining because of the way I was feeling. And I think that's something that helps a whole lot, because You know, our bodies sometimes need to be flushed out. You know, our bodies sometimes just need that leg up and that chance to be able to work at full efficiency. So, yeah, I think that if anything helped, that along with the progesterone probably helped me this month. Now, I don't know if this is going to end up as a chemical or ectopic, which after your tubes are untied, there's an increased risk for that. But I'm going to try to be optimistic about it and just see what happens. Of course, if I don't start getting darker tests, I'm going to assume that I have a chemical or an ectopic. I'm going to call my doctor's office probably, excuse me, I used all my getting ready time this morning, y'all, taking tests and looking at them and staring at them, so I know I look a hot mess. But I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on. And I will try to get into the doctor's office today or tomorrow to take my first draw. So at this point, I'm very excited, but I want to cautiously be that way because I don't know how it's going to end, or if it's an ectopic or, you know, a chemical. That's just something that's always going to be in the back of my mind. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just excited for what these next few days might hold. And I will do a video to update y'all very soon. As soon as I find out something more or else get a darker line, I will definitely let y'all know. If I can take some pictures that y'all can actually see of the pregnancy test, excuse me, that you can actually see the line on, I will post those in this video. But the lines are very faint. They're very faint, but they're very pink. So I know that they're not evap lines. This is a internet cheapie that I'm using. It's got the pink dye. And I've heard about how notorious the blue dyes are for giving evaps and fake false positives. My goodness. So I don't think this is the case this time. All these other days that I've been testing, besides the one I took last night and this morning, have been stark white. Not a lick of anything. And I know that the HCG trigger shot that I gave myself is out of my system because I tested like 3 days after. And I didn't give myself a lot at all. I gave myself a small amount. So I know it's not that. So, yeah. I'm anxious to see what happens. I'm excited. And I will keep y'all posted. So, thanks for watching. And, yeah. See y'all later. Bye.